Today I'm going to tell you what I eat to feel better and more in control about my food than I ever have. I've gotten this question a lot recently. Someone messaged me on Facebook last week and then on Instagram asked me this. Hi Sherry, I too am trying to eat more protein, but I'm struggling with meals outside of breakfast. Will you be doing any what I eat in a day videos on YouTube soon? Thanks. I'm also still trying to overcome the plant-based thinking of low fat, no oils, no sugar, etc. It's a struggle. If this sounds like you are not broken and you're not the only one. So today I'm finally doing the video that I keep getting asked for, what I actually eat in a day. Not one perfect camera ready day, real meals, real ideas, the stuff that helps me with lowering my food noise, my cravings, the stuff that's actually in my rotation day to day. You're listening to the Set Point Science podcast, the show where we take midlife weight and appetite apart, the real mechanics, not just motivation, so weight loss finally feels sustainable instead of like a second job. I'm your host, Sherry Alberts, and on today's episode, we're finally doing the video that you keep asking me for, what I actually eat in a day, protein and all. So the meals I'm about to walk you through are not going to look like anything like I used to eat. They're not going to look like a strict rule-bound plate that hits all these different points. They're going to look like food that keeps me full, keeps my cravings quiet, and doesn't need a ton of forethought, planning, or even sitting down to eat it. These meals fit inside my normal life with kids, responsibilities, and fast creation and satiety is high on the priorities list nowadays. Note that if you're just listening to this particular episode, you might want to watch it again later on YouTube because I'm writing on my iPad for this part and I'll have a lot of clips that are going to be showing my actual food in a minute. Okay, I'm going to show you my intentions on why I eat what I do when I do. So I typically try to have 2 to 3 meals per day because that feels good for me. I'll do some snacks if I need them. And oftentimes I'll have snacks before cooking because that will help me not be so hungry if I'm trying to cook something. I do try to cook things ahead of time using my method, which I call rolling prep, which means I might make something on Monday, make something on Tuesday, make something on Thursday so that I have a bunch of things to eat by Thursday. And then once that stuff is done, if this one is gone, then I'll go and make this one again. And so I'm just rolling prep instead of doing everything all on one day. I always think along the lines of 3 meals. Sometimes I only get 2 in, but I'm trying to stick to 3 and create that as a habit in my brain. Something I always have to take into consideration is my medications. So I take a medication called tamoxifen, one called venlafaxine, and now I take a blood pressure medication called losartan, I think, something like that. So this one is for cancer. This one is for depression, which comes from the cancer med. And then this one is blood pressure because mine is running stage 1 hypertension, which could be due to this medication as well. Because I always had good blood pressure, not sure. I decided to go on medication though, just to make it a bit easier right now. This is the medication in question that's tough for me because if I don't take it at the same time every day, I start to feel sick. And also if I take it on an empty stomach, I get nauseous. So I always have to take it first thing in the morning. I've tried to take it at different times, doesn't work. And I've got to take it with food and it must be protein. I've tested lots of different things. It's got to be protein or I still get nauseous. So I take my meds first thing, 7 or 8 a.m. and I will have a protein shake with that. I like Koia brand shakes. They have 20 grams of protein. I'm also trying to think along the lines of 50 grams of protein per meal. I never get that much, but I'm shooting for it. And I think that helps me get to 30 or 40 grams per meal typically. And when I get to 30 or 40, I feel great. My cravings are lower and my energy is better throughout the day. It's also easier for me to cook for my children without eating their food. The one thing I have found is important is to try to get 50 at breakfast. So typically this will try to be 50 and then the other ones don't matter as much. So I have a protein shake. I might also have some protein powder with water just to get another quick 20. And then I typically would have coffee. And with my coffee, I don't like to put protein powder in or shakes or anything in coffee. So I will have 1 cup of the plant-based milk called Ripple, which will have 8 grams of protein per cup. And then I'm also going to do some simple syrup with my coffee. So then by the time 9 or 10, sometimes my coffee even goes until noon, rolls around, I've got 48 grams of protein. And that feels pretty good. My first real meal of the day is going to be somewhere around 11 to 2 p.m. Depends on the day, depends on how long my coffee lasted. I'll typically do something like eggs at this meal, and then sometimes it goes straight with breakfast, so maybe around 10 a.m. sometimes too. These are some of the meals that I've been having for quite a while, for several months. They really kept me full for a long time. and give me some really good protein. But one thing that we have to accept about my brain is that I don't like to eat the same thing every day. So I'll eat something for a while. I might eat one particular meal for a while. So you see, I did this egg combination for a month or two. Then there was a point where I couldn't do that egg combination anymore. So I had to find something else. I'm learning to accept how my brain is in this case. It's just like that. It's also no wonder I couldn't stick to the nutritarian, salad, smoothie, cooked meal rotation because I just get sick of stuff after a while. I'm learning to embrace that. Also, there's a scientific explanation for this too, in that the brain is searching for nutrients and it wants to make sure it doesn't get all the same nutrients after a while. So it has an adaptation where it actually makes us sick of certain meals because it's looking for different nutrients. So I'm accepting that that's okay while I'm working on that. So typically this middle meal, somewhere between 11 to will be an egg something. Right now, it's one egg over medium, and I use avocado oil, and then one piece of toast, whole wheat toast, just regular grocery store brand with some butter. Sometimes I'll do it dry, sometimes I'll do it with butter. It's a very satisfying small meal for me. I might also have some leftovers, or I might do we often have tortillas. My family is Mexican, so we'll often have tortillas with, say, I like peanut butter and banana, or I'll throw some beans on there. We have any made, etc. So typically this second meal will shake out like this in some way or another. But every day is different because it depends on what's going on in my life with my family, if we're having a real busy day. And then let's talk about dinner. So dinner, I typically the first thing I think is protein, because this is also my kids' dinner time. And this is where things will go off the rails if I'm not careful. So what I try to do is make sure that I get lots of protein, and I use meat to do that. I did cheese and stuff for a while, but it was just too much saturated fat. So I start to do lean meat, because if I'm not getting something, if I'm not sort of balanced throughout the day, I find, then I'm going to just end up eating my kids' food. It's just an environmental challenge that I have that I'm not perfect at, and I don't have to be perfect at. I just want to be able to be pretty good at it and create consistency so my brain can get used to that. The idea that I don't eat the kids' food, or I eat the protein part of the kids' food, and then I have my own food as well. A really big, important part of everything for me is balance. Started thinking about this last year, this typical 1950s idea, protein, fat, and carbohydrates, getting a balanced meal. What I like to do is have a little bit heavy on the protein side and definitely some fat and carbs in every meal. You can see that in this breakfast meal where I have a lot of protein, and then I also have some carbs, not a ton of fat, but I end up having some good amount of fat in my next meal on purpose with the egg, the avocado oil, and the toast. And then between these two, it balances itself out. So I have some protein, fat, and carbs. And then I try to just make this third meal balanced as well. So I'll make sure I have protein, fat, and carbs in the whole thing, leaning towards protein more. So I'm trying to do 4 to 6 ounces of meat. That might be ground lean beef, which is more rare, turkey, or chicken. Those are the 3 I typically will use. And beef is maybe only once every couple weeks. I might have fish. I'll get some kind of a frozen breaded fish, throw that in the air fryer, or I use the Butcher Box company to buy my own meats. I'm going to give you an affiliate link in there. You can use it or not. If you use it, it'll give me $20 if you sign up for it. But you will get a free box. So that's like a free month and free ground beef for life. I love that they do those deals. The only thing is I only have 5 of these links, and I'm going to put them down in the description, as well as an affiliate link for those Koia shakes if you're interested in those. In this Butcher Box, this is going to be first come, first serve. So you can use these links if you like. Here in the fine print, it says that it only works for both of us if you get that second box. Those are just the details. I like the Butcher Box company because I can just choose the meats that I want. They have some lean options. I almost always just choose those. And I don't use it every month. I'll use it for 1 month, and then that's going to be enough for 2 or 3 months for me. I'll put it on hold and then I'll start it up again. So this might be salmon. Then I'll think fat and I'll think carbs. The fat usually comes in naturally because I'll use things like vegan mayo. I use vegan mayo because of the cholesterol issues that I have. Depending on what I'm making, there might be some oil for whatever reason, etc. And then carbs for us is typically some kind of a pasta or a tortilla. And I'm the kind of person that doesn't really take a lot of, I don't sit down to eat much. It's pretty rare that I'll do that. So I like to stand up and just eat quickly. I like to eat fast, 5 minutes kind of a thing. So I might take some pre-prepared chicken. And I've been making chicken lately because I get a lot from the butcher box. So I'll make a bunch of those at once. And then I have meat for 3 or 4 days in the fridge ready to go. So I might take some of that out, chop it up, put it in a tortilla with maybe some avocado or guacamole or something and just eat it like that. Eat some tomatoes on the side. So these are usually fast forms of carbs. I don't really, I'm not trying to like make this big old meal, with a side of potatoes and some steamed veggies. I just don't have time for that. And at this time in my life, I'm not interested in going that intense with stuff. So I just kind of like pick what I have, but try to make it balanced. So here is how I do my turkey burgers. Usually I get this ground turkey breast. Just start up the pan with a little avocado oil, get it warming up, and I'll add some spices. I usually do salt, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, some generous spices on there. I just leave it whole in the pan, let it cook, put the same spices on the other side with some more oil, flip it. It only takes about 10-15 minutes to cook, and I'll use a meat thermometer. And then I just eat it like a burger on a bun with some vegan mayo, and this is such a quick meal for me. I can make a whole one of these turkey things and have 4 burgers for, 4 days. Easy. Okay, so I like to do quick stuff, right? So tortilla, peanut butter, bananas. This is stuff we always have on hand. This is my favorite dessert ever, ever, ever. It's so yummy. Raspberries, maple syrup, whipped cream. Yum. This is what I get when I go to Chipotle. I don't like the meat there, so I always get the sofritas, which is yummy tofu. This is a salad I was having for a while. Avocado is the dressing there, and just lots of different vegetables, pumpkin seeds, etc. A very yummy beef bowl that I put together, just ground beef, rice, and some green olives and some black beans. I do a quick meal with some of the chicken I had cooked with avocado and tomato on the side. Just super simple, standing up, eating. One of the meals I was making for a bit, this is eggs with guacamole on top, and then a side of potatoes and beets. I don't love this one. It was just I don't love potatoes too much and stuff, so that wasn't my favorite. But the egg part I adored. Here's one I had to take on the go, obviously, some leftovers, and it hit the spot. Another standing up meal with a turkey burger from Whole Foods with a bagel and some guacamole and tomatoes. A typical setup you can see with the kids' stuff on the other side of the counter and me standing up eating my food. Here's another meal where I actually had some vegetables prepared. I had steamed them and chicken I made and some rice. Another beef bowl or maybe this is a chicken bowl with leftover meats and some leftover stuff with Greek yogurt on top. And the berries make their way again with the blueberries and the whipped cream and the maple syrup. It's just my favorite after meal treat. I didn't make this one. This is from a local restaurant, and the kids and I had some fries with it, and it came with steak too. And then this is a meal put together from Kevin's Chicken that you can get at Whole Foods. And then some rice noodles and some fresh chives. Here's another salad I made. At the time, I was really loving this one, which is like fruits with oranges as the dressing and stuff. Actually, this makes me want to make that one again. But I got sick of it, and here I am a couple months later wanting it again. Here is another just ground beef bowl with some veggies that I had cooked up and some yogurt. I can't always eat these though because I just get sick of them. So I'll do some of this. I'll do it for a week or so, and then I like to dip, some crackers in there to get some carbs too, just because it tastes good and it's satisfying. And then I'll be sick of this and I'll skip to something else. Now, none of what I just showed you is a meal plan that you have to copy at all. In fact, I highly recommend against that. Trying to follow someone else's plan is going to leave you missing things that are important to you, and then it's going to create this comparison trap for you. And that's kind of the point too. What I'm doing here with my meals is protein forward eating. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to take forever to prepare or eat, and it doesn't have to look like anyone else's plate, including mine. It has to work for you. What it needs to do is keep you full, keep your cravings quieter, and be something that you'd actually want to make and eat again next week. If it checks those boxes, that's working, whether or not it matches some rule that you used to follow someday in the past. And no matter what anyone tells us, satiety, enjoyment, and not being hungry an hour later actually matter. Not spending our entire life in the grocery store, planning stuff in the kitchen, and eating, that really matters. I used to preach low caloric density for years. but what if higher caloric density actually creates the stability that we need to stick to something? We can still eat for our individual health profile, making sure to keep our blood pressure, blood sugars, cholesterol, other factors in mind. The most important thing is that all or nothing thinking leads to stress and then falling off track whatever we were trying to stay on anyway. And listen, there was never a track to begin with. So the woman who originally asked this question of me, if you're standing where she is, trying to eat more protein, still fighting these old rules in your head, and not sure what that actually looks like on your plate day to day, I do something called a two-step call. It's free, it's 15 minutes, and we're going to spend it putting together an easy meal plan that you can follow now, built for you specifically in your life where it is now, and then seeing whether Restore or private coaching is a good fit if you want more support after that. Of course, there's no pressure either way. And if you want to sign up for one of those calls with me personally, you can go to setpointscience.com/two-step. So until next time, remember that the rules you used to follow aren't the same thing as the truth about your body. So it's worth checking which one you're actually still obeying. See you in the next episode.